Hi guys, welcome to our weekly podcast. Today we want to talk about why can't a woman be the Messiah, and why is it always a man that is the Messiah? I mean, looking at it from a biblical point of view, right? God created Adam first, because the Messiah comes only when you have a situation that has broken away from an ideal. The Messiah comes to fix things. Like if Adam fulfilled his responsibility and obeyed God and became God's substantial body, then we don't not need a Messiah. Because Adam fell, we need a Messiah, right? And God created Adam first, and then he created Eve out of his rib. That means out of his rib means out of his heart, love. So why can't in a way, like the woman should really revolve around the husband, like an electron revolves around the nucleus, or like the proton. So does the woman should revolve around the husband. So when you look at the family federation, I mean, it has totally been when father was around, father was doing his mission. Hak Ja Han was very obedient to him, right? But later on, when he ascended, everything changed. She became the subject position, and she had the authority, or the kind of to call herself the Holy Mother Han. And what is really what went wrong with her? What went wrong to her thinking? I mean, she said that father, no one educated me. No one educated only begotten daughter. But very clearly say that, very clearly say that, the father said that, the Han mother does not know the principle.
Yeah.
So it baffles me to think about this.
Well, first of all, it's important to get back to the Bible and also true Father's words in this whole issue. And the Bible in Genesis states that God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. So God is a man, according to that. And the Bible teaching has always been that God is a man. And the second part of that verse, and God created male and female, he created them. That was the second phrase in it. But one separation, God created man in his own image, in the image of God he created him. And the Bible teaching from then on is always referred to God as him. You see, because the reason is because, as you mentioned, God created Eve. God created Eve from Adam's rib, because he's become part of him. They're supposed to be one. They're supposed to be God's son and daughter on the earth. I mean, the whole idea of God was to want to embody himself in man, and as True Father explained in the Chonchongyong, page 1141, that Adam was supposed to be the incarnation of God, just like Genesis states, and be God himself. So God was to walk the earth through Adam. And he wanted a wife. The whole purpose of creation, he wanted a wife, and that was to be Eve. So Eve was going to be God's wife, Adam's wife, but God's wife. So in this, that they're one. And in love, there's equality. But only in love. You see, God created him. But only in love is Adam one with God. And only in love is Eve one with Adam. So that's the way it works. But God wanted to become one with Adam, and he would have become one with Eve in that. And it'd be like God's family being started on the earth. That's exactly what's supposed to be. So there's no fall. It's like any young person. He wants to have a family, any young man. He doesn't have a baby and then think, I wonder where we're going to live. No, he finds a place to live first. Could be an apartment, it could be a house, could be any place. He has some plan, and then he finds a woman, marries her, and then they're ready to have the baby, to have their children. So God did exactly the same thing. He created the whole universe, the physical world, a very comfortable environment, and then he embodied himself in Adam. Adam had to reach perfection, of course. But Adam reached perfection, he would have married Eve, they would have eaten the fruit, it was okay at that point, and then they would have children. So that's the case. So Adam and Eve would become one, and then all mankind would be one with the same God. There's no need for other religions. That was the whole point. Now, of course, both Eve fell and Adam fell. So both have to be restored. But Eve fell twice. Eve fell, Satan invaded through Eve. Eve fell with Lucifer, and Eve caused Adam to fall. So in restoration, it has to go the opposite way. Eve was the initiator of the fall. And so Adam, the Messiah, has to come as a man. And a man has the seed. And at the very beginning, God created Adam, and he was being incarnated in him, because he's the seed.
Yeah, he was to be God's body.
God's body, exactly. So therefore, God had to, in restoration, God had to make a foundation to send the Messiah. But the Messiah means he's going to start the whole process again, an attempt. And so the Messiah is a new Adam.
It cannot be a new Eve.
No, a new Eve comes later, you see. The new Adam has to come first. He's a man born without original sin. Only the Messiah is born without original sin. No one else, his family, his lineage, is all fallen, but he himself is born without original sin. And he has the responsibility to find a woman who he can restore. And she's restored, first of all, by receiving the blessing from him that removes the original sin. Okay.
Original sin of the woman.
Yes.
Okay.
Messiah doesn't have original sin. And then she goes through a course, restoration course, and then eventually they're blessed, they live together, and then they're equal, like Adam and Eve are supposed to be. They become the true parents of the humankind. And then they have children born without original sin. And God's lineage is established on the earth.
That's the ideal.
That's the ideal, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why the Messiah must come as a man, not as a woman. Now, the question was why a woman can't be Messiah. Well, she becomes the Messiah when she's one with the real Messiah. They're supposed to be one, not separate. You see?
Yeah.
So that's why Father said that when they're together, they're the Messiah, but separately not. They can't be separated. Father's one with God. You'll never separate from that. You never separate from God. He's a perfect man, can't do that. So Eve, so his wife, in this case Hak Ja Han, has to remain one with him. Now, if she was perfect, she wouldn't want to separate. Why would she want to separate from Father? So she'd always be one with Father. She'd always be the Messiah. She'd always be true mother. But after Father ascended, she was no longer one with him. And she started criticizing true Father. He's saying he's born with original sin. But then she says she was not. She got a whole different theology.
And she said, you ought to believe it, that I from the womb I was born with the original sin.
Exactly. And so it's not, many people think, we don't like her because she's a woman. That's nonsensical. I mean, all members, including myself, were members since the 70s. And if we didn't like women, we wouldn't have been that long. That's really nonsensical. We're exposing Hak Ja Han because he's betrayed true Father and divine principle and misleading members. That's the reason. She becomes the Messiah when she's one with Father, but she abandoned that position when she betrayed him. And that's the reality. That's the reality.
Yeah, this is a kind of, we say heresy. It's heresy, of course, but then it's the total betrayal of our Father in every sense of the word. If you think of John 1:1, it says that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and the Word became flesh and manifest among people. It totally talks about God's image. Totally talks about a male gender. It doesn't talk about a female gender.
Yeah, it has to start with a male gender.
Yeah.
And that's referring to Jesus, and that's exactly what he was. He was the Word made flesh.
Yeah.
True Father is the Word made flesh. Likewise, and he walked among us.
Yeah.
And he was the light of the world, And so all men were supposed to become like him. But in this case, then his wife would pioneer the way of a true woman.
True woman and a true mother.
Yeah, and that was supposed to happen. But unfortunately, it didn't happen with Hak Ja Han. That's a sad reality. But instead, she started promoting this feminism that attracted only feminist members, which is a total distortion of the divine principle. I mean, real feminism would be according to divine principle. But it's a false feminism we have today. I mean, the only begotten daughter theology, when you look at it, it says that Father is born with original sin. As she states, the deposition. And then she states that she was born without original sin. Now she's reversed Father's teaching and the divine principle. Divine principle clearly states the Father is born without original sin. And she said that there's no prophecy anywhere in Father's words where it says Hak Ja Han was born without original sin. She was born with original sin, like everybody else. And so it's a false. And then it also states that Father made a mistake marrying his first wife, Seung-il Choi. But that's not Father's teaching at all. Father said Seung-il Choi was meant to be true mother in 1945 when he married her. She was meant to be true mother, not Hak Ja Han.
I mean, many members may think that we are always bashing the Han mother. We are always bashing her. I mean, we are bashing her because what we have seen in the movement, what we are witnessing in the movement now, what's going on. Members who are following like hook, line, and sinker. They're following the Han mother, who's totally is totally not right. What she has done in the movement. Even people looking from outside can see that this is totally a different religion.
Yeah.
Totally not what the founder really wanted to establish. It has totally fractured. It fractured into different parts, and different factions have really taken over. What's going on? I mean, they call us also a faction that yes, we are following the truth. We are following the true ideal because Father anointed Hunjanim as his heir and successor. Hunjanim, we find it very difficult to pronounce these this Korean term. Hunjanim and Hunjanim, it's quite different. So we say Sean Moon that we follow. And because he is the heir and successor of Reverend Moon, because Reverend Moon crowned him 3 times, two times in Korea and 1 time in New York. So it was 3 times crowned as the heir and successor. So he is the one who's carrying out the original teaching because Father gave 8 great textbooks and gave it to Hunjanim and his wife Yanim as the custodians of this great 8 textbooks. And she said, you got to study it for 10,000 years.
Yeah, I think what happened is over the years, you said the movement grew, and it attracted a lot of people, but a lot of unsavory people, to be honest. A lot of leadership, they just used it to make money. And Yunjin even explained that in a speech, Breaking of the Silence, that actually they're totally corrupted. And he was shocked when he realized that. One guy was taking out 6 different salaries from the movement, and he was said to Yunjin, don't worry about this mother changing Father's words. Yeah, you'll get your position. But he was not interested in his position. He was interested in supporting true Father. He always saw himself as his heir and successor, and he could not tolerate his mother changing father's words. So Yeonjin was prepared to speak up about that, and he didn't care that they kick him out, but he would stand by a true father. That's why he is a true heir and successor. That's what a true heir and successor does. And so that's exactly what Yeonjin did, and he created Sanctuary Church, which purpose is to protect and preserve true father's words and traditions. Now the Family Federation, they continued, and they made the fake only begotten daughter theology. That's designed just to keep the movement as it is. That's all. But to do that, they had to upgrade Hak Ja Han as the only begotten daughter, born without original sin, which is totally untrue. Father never said that. And then, in that way, they can keep all their positions and their salaries and their businesses. But it's all important, because they knew damn well that if Yeonjin took over, he'd root out all their corruption.
So in other words, you can also say that in these circumstances, Hunjin is the Messiah who saved the movement, who saved the church.
Well, yeah, it totally represents the Messiah, true father, and that's exactly what he's doing. What else could he do? He's not interested in whether people. He's not interested in winning a popularity contest. He's interested in supporting true father, and that's people need to realize that.
Yeah, we're in big trouble. Look at what has really gone wrong. But anyway, God's will is absolute. No? He said, like in Isaiah, I think Isaiah 46:11, he said, "I have a will and I will bring it to pass. No matter how, I will do it." So God's will be done, because if you think, what if Hinjanim also failed in his mission, just followed the Han mother, just believed in her and said, "Okay, well, mother," and took what was like material gifts that were given to him. I mean, God's providence would have been, would have been prolonged for another, I don't know how many years, for somebody to revive the Messiah, the second coming of Christ.
Yeah, but one point I want to say is actually, true father knew that the movement's full of corrupted people, and he said it once. We'll put the quote.
Yeah, putting that all in the description.
He said he could see right through these people who joined the movement for their own purposes, but he didn't kick them out. I mean, it was a difficult situation. He's leading the movement, but and that's what happened over the years. Now Yeonjin, coming true father's heir and successor, his mission now is to clean up that movement. True father, people have to remember, true father, when he started, in the eyes of the world, he looked like a crazy guy. He's speaking against communism, and he promoted guns. People forget that. He spoke against the Cold War. We'll show some quotes, transcripts about that as well. And so, because true father also didn't want to win a popularity contest, his mission was to help people change their lives from an evil life to a good life. He wanted to save their lives. That's what salvation is. It's to give the blessing and help us become good people, so we can go to the spiritual world in a high place. That's his mission. He didn't care if people like what he's doing or not. He cared about saving people's lives. And that's exactly what Yeonjin is doing today. He's not trying to win a popularity contest. And that's the very reason he wears a crown of bullets. He walks around with a gun, an army fatigues. Yeah, it looks crazy, but that's what it takes, I think, to root out corrupted people. If he wore a nice suit and tie, said nice words, then we'll have all the corrupted people in sanctuary. We don't want that.
What was Shakespeare's drama that was this Satan is a gentleman?
Oh yeah, I'm not sure if it's Shakespeare, but it's a famous quote. So the devil is a gentleman.
Devil is a gentleman's suit.
And it's true. I mean, when you think all the liars in history, people that are the most evil, they're often actually wearing nice suits and ties. And so, when you think of the good people history, who were guiding the religious leaders. Look at John the Baptist. He didn't have a suit and tie. He looked very hideous in his camel skin, and that's why people probably mocked him. Jesus is going around and riding a donkey. Because these people and many others, their purpose was to bring us to God, lead us from Satan's world to God's world. You see, and in speaking the truth, it's not always what people want to hear. So Yunjin, likewise, he has to. His mission is to root out the corrupted people. That's no different from True Father. You want to do exactly the same thing. If Father wanted to get a wide audience, he'd just start showing pornography films. He could fill up a hall very quickly with that. But that's not what he's interested in. He's interested to say that fall is sexual sin. You need to overcome that. And that proves he's concerned about our lives. And Yunjin is no different. And True Father could find Yunjin the only person he could trust. Absolutely. And Yunjin is really living up to that. Yunjin really saved the movement. The Family Federation members who just criticise him and say, he's using a gun, they would be criticising True Father because he did the same thing. Then they really need to wake up and look at themselves. Yunjin is really representing True Father, nobody else is. All the other so-called leaders, they're all saying Father failed, actually. Myung Kim said Father failed. Jim Chun Kim, Father failed. Damien Dunkley, Father failed. All of them. Hak Ja Han, Father failed. They are false leaders, actually. Only Yunjin is one standing by True Father. He's the one you should be following because he's the only one Father said you should follow. He said if any other person other than Yunjin takes that position, that person would be a heretic and would destroy the movement. And that's exactly what is happening with Hak Ja Han.
And she destroyed the movement. Now, what has happened to it? I mean, it's crazy. This whole schism that's going on. I mean, what's the point in building a big palace? I mean, if God doesn't dwell in that palace.
It's all idolatry. First of all, Hak Ja Han makes statues of herself being worshipped. I'll put it in a transcript as well. There's a lot of things going in the transcript. But she made statues of herself being worshipped by members. And if that is not enough for people to wake up, I don't know what is. And then she made a big sanctum. What's that about? And then one seat in there, in the middle of the sanctum, with a seat only for herself. And then she changed her name, now the Holy Mother Han. Why did she do that? Why not Holy Mother Moon? It sounds to me she's ashamed of True Father because she believes he made a mistake, married his first wife, and she thinks she's only born without original sin. She's putting herself forward as the only person, the only agent of salvation, which is false. It's a lie.
Yeah, but when you look at it, how is she gradually change everything that father worked at. Father, she gradually changed father's image. Every time they put father and mother together, but gradually father faded away from them, and the Han mother became the goddess, and she was raised up, and now you cannot say anything about father. Father is in the background.
Yeah.
All his sacrifice, all his life that he led to bring the movement up, from 1954. I mean, this is all been erased, wiped out. Trying to wipe out our minds, our brains, our people who are following the movement, followed for 50, 40 years. And we also find out that there are leaders that are gradually fade away. Korean leaders.
Yeah, Satan invaded the movement, and members should realise that and ask themselves, why did you join? Why did you join so many years ago? And I think the answer is you believed that True Father is the second coming of Christ, and he was born without original sin. That's the reason. But why did you change your mind? Why do you now think he's born with original sin? That he made mistakes? Were you confused that time? Was Father lying to you? You really need to ask those questions. Or is Hak Ja Han lying? And I think the answer is Hak Ja Han is lying to you. It's got all these leaders lying too. There's a lot of people. You've got a lot of other leaders just critical of Hak Ja Han, but they want to support Myung Moon. These are so-called relativists, but they're not following the truth. Father said there's only one thing to do after he passes away, that's to follow his heir and successor. If you do anything else for any other reason,
That's the purpose of a lineage, no?
yeah,
I mean, now once Hyunjin also passes away from the spiritual world, then it will be his son. And later on, when his son also is come to a ripe old age, then he will also pass it on to his son, and that's how the lineage will continue.
yeah. I think a lot of members don't realise what the meaning of lineage is. It doesn't mean anyone is just his son or daughter they to lead the lineage. They have to believe in him. It's not like just fallen world understanding of lineage. The lineage in this case, someone who inherits from is one in heart with Father. Not a son or daughter who just follows Hak Ja Han and says, I'm a lineage, it's okay, follow me now. No.
Father even anointed Hyunjin's son, Sanjini. He anointed three kingships. The three, he and his son Hyunjin, and also his grandson.
Sanjun, yeah.
Sanjun also, so he anointed three in his lineage to carry out the mission. So we hope that in the future, that will be, it will grow. The tree will grow, the tree of life, because the tree of life has been established.
Oh yeah, there's nothing to stop that from growing.
That is happening. It may be, you cannot see it happening, but it is sprouting. It is sprouting, and it is growing later on, and we will see the kingdom of heaven. We'll see the Chongup nation spring up over a period of time. It's a matter. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What you can see in the world now, but it is happening. It is happening little by little.
Yeah, whether whoever follows Yunjin, they receive the blessing. If you reject him for whatever reason, you just lose the blessing.
Yeah, even for you and I to even come forth and even put out a podcast like this, because he has something to say. It's not like we are banging him. We want to speak the truth. The truth then can set you free. That's the only way, because the Messiah is here. If Jesus was here and Jesus had established a family, I mean, he would have had the same issues. Maybe something. Satan doesn't let go. He doesn't give up. I mean, when we joined the movement, we never thought that that his wife will betray him. Whoever thought that is? Whoever even imagined that his wife will somehow betray him once he ascends? She was like a lamb in front of him, and she was just following him. Only when he ascended, she took control. She took control of saying she is the only begotten daughter, and totally take control of the movement. This is it's a heresy. It's a, what can we say? What is gone wrong? Satan has invaded. Satan has invaded the movement, because Satan will not invade something. Something is not a threat to him, because we were threat. So we were growing, so Satan was looking for opportunity.
Yeah, well, he found the opportunity in the corrupt archangelic leaders, who just in it for themselves, and then they very easily influenced Hak Ja Han.
Exactly, it's like the fall again.
The fall again, yeah.
So there is no separate. I mean, we got to really thank Hyunjin for standing up against this kind of heresy, kind of betrayal. And it's unfortunate that the leaders are just going along with it, because there's so much so much to gain materially for them. So like like Jesus said, if someone wants to lose his life for himself, will gain it, and someone who want to keep his life will lose it.
Mm.
This is what is really happening. People want to They don't want to lose their life for the sake of heaven or sake of Father, but they want to keep their lives following Hak Ja Han, and finally they are losing it. So this is the reality that we are faced with today.
That's true.
So we'll put the descriptions in the what we said in this discussion in the description of this podcast. So we wish you a happy week ahead, and God bless you all, and God bless your families as well. Thank you very much.
God bless you.